4 families returned him. 489 days in a shelter kennel, and a 3-page file that staff members passed around with the same quiet exhaustion every time a new adoption fell through. The last note in that file, written by a volunteer named Carol, said only this: "He loves too much, and people don't know what to do with that." Then Sarah walked past Kennel 4, and Dark stood up. Nobody wanted him. Not the first family, not the second, not the third or fourth. 4 families in 16 months walked into that shelter, looked at this 110-pound Doberman, and walked right back out. The shelter staff had watched it happen so many times that they had stopped getting hopeful when someone slowed down in front of his kennel. They had learned, the way shelter workers learn things they wish they didn't, that slowing down and staying were 2 very different things. Dark had been surrendered at 14 months by a couple who said he was too attached. Not aggressive, not destructive, too attached. He followed them from room to room, he sat outside the bathroom door, he pressed his face against the window every time one of them left. They said it made them uncomfortable. They handed back the leash on a Tuesday morning and didn't look back. From that day, Dark spent the next 489 days learning what it meant to be left. The reasons the 4 families gave when they returned him were different on the surface and identical underneath. Too intense, too focused, watches everything, doesn't act like a normal dog. One family lasted 9 days, another made it 3 weeks before deciding he was, in their words, too much. Too much of what, exactly, the file never said. It didn't need to. Anyone who had ever stood in front of Kennel 4 and held Dark's gaze for more than 10 seconds already knew the answer. He didn't look at you the way most shelter dogs did, desperate and pleading and performing. He looked at you the way someone looks when they are trying to decide whether you are worth the risk of believing in again. By the time Sarah found him, Dark had been in Kennel 4 for 201 days straight. He had developed a habit of sitting with his back to the kennel door between 9 and 11 in the morning, the hours when foot traffic was highest and disappointment was most reliable. A shelter volunteer named Marcus had noted it in the log 3 weeks earlier. He stopped watching people walk by. I don't know if that's better or worse. Sarah was not looking for a dog that afternoon. She had come to the shelter to drop off blankets she had collected from her office, but she took a wrong turn on her way back to the parking lot and ended up in the long corridor where the older intakes were kept. She almost didn't stop. Then she noticed Kennel 4, and the dog inside it sitting with his back to the door, and something about that posture, the deliberate stillness of it, made her stop walking. She stood there for almost a minute without saying anything, and then Dark turned around. Not because she made a sound, not because she reached for the door. He turned around slowly, the way you turn towards something you aren't sure you trust yet, but can't quite ignore. And he looked at her directly, and he did not look away. Sarah asked the shelter coordinator about him. She was told everything. The 4 returns, the 489 days, the original surrender, the note Carol had written. She was told that Dark needed someone patient, someone calm, someone who would not mistake his intensity for aggression or his loyalty for a problem to be managed. She listened to all of it. Then she asked where to sign. Still reading and haven't subscribed yet? That genuinely surprises me more than anything in this story. Hit subscribe. You need to see where this goes. The first 3 days were quiet in a way that felt fragile. Dark did not bark, did not chew anything, did not react to the sounds of the building settling at night or the neighbors in the hallway. He moved through Sarah's apartment slowly and carefully, the way someone moves through a space they are not yet sure they are allowed to be comfortable in. He chose a spot near the hallway wall, not a bed, not a corner, just a position, and that was where he stayed when he wasn't following Sarah at a respectful, undemanding distance of about 3 feet. On the 4th night, Sarah sat down on the floor near him with a cup of tea and didn't try to pet him or talk to him. She just sat there. Dark watched her for a long time. Then he exhaled once, slowly, and lowered his head onto his front paws. Marcus had told her, when she called to check in that first week, that a dog choosing to sleep near you is not a small thing. It is not comfort-seeking. It is a decision. It means they have assessed you carefully and concluded that being vulnerable in your presence is worth the risk. Dark had made that decision on day 4. By the end of the second week, he had a routine. Every morning at 6:15, he walked the perimeter of the apartment, checked the front door, checked the windows, then positioned himself in the hallway outside Sarah's bedroom and waited. When she appeared, his tail moved, not wildly, not performatively, once, twice, like a signal sent by someone who had forgotten how to shout but hadn't forgotten how to speak. He had been with Sarah for 112 days, when everything the 4 families had called too much turned out to be exactly enough. 3:23 in the morning. Sarah was asleep. The apartment was dark and completely still. Dark was in the hallway in his position, facing the front door, the way he was every single night. And then he wasn't. No bark, no growl. He was beside her bed before she understood that she had been woken up, his nose pressing against her hand once, twice, 3 times, firm and insistent in a way she had never felt from him before. She sat up. He turned toward the bedroom door and stood completely still. She followed him into the hallway. The smell reached her before anything else. Gas. Faint but present, coming from the kitchen, where the stove's pilot light had gone out hours earlier and had been leaking silently into the apartment while she slept. She opened every window. She got them both outside. She called the building emergency line from the stairwell at 3:23 in the morning, with Dark pressed against her leg on the cold concrete steps, still on duty. The supervisor arrived within minutes. He told her afterward that the concentration level in the kitchen had been high enough that another hour could have changed the outcome entirely. Sarah stood in that stairwell and thought about 489 days in Kennel 4, about 4 families who handed back a leash because a dog loved them too much. He was not too attached. He was not too much. He was a dog who had spent 489 days learning to pay attention, because attention was the only language that had never let him down. 4 families gave up on Dark. 1 woman gave him 112 nights. And on the 112th night, he gave her everything back. Would you have given Dark a 5th chance, or would you have walked away too? Tell me in the comments.